What's going on, guys? Nick here. So today I want to talk about what I learned from doing a painting study for the first time in about a year or so. I'm a really big advocate of doing studies. I think they really help. I always tell people that at one point in my career, I was plateauing really hard. And what helped me get over that hump was just doing a photo study every single day. I was trying to work on specifically my weaknesses and what I needed to get better at for the types of projects that I was currently working on. And after about a year, I completely leveled up my skill, and I actually started getting a lot more work after that little hump. Yeah, so I've been working with a couple mentees of mine, and since I've been assigning them all of these studies, I thought this was a really good opportunity for me to actually, take a piece of my own advice and do one myself. Alright, so the first thing I did was I went on Pinterest. Pinterest is kind of like my go-to platform for finding good references. You can find tons of stuff on there. And I found this woman sitting on this seat holding a glass of wine with this nice Renaissance outfit on. I thought it would be a really good opportunity to do something a little bit more simple and something I could kind of keep myself within the hour time limit I was giving myself to finish this piece. So what started as a strict copy, which I typically do with my studies, I was kind of thinking to myself as I was going, I was like, I could really use some more personal work. Why don't I really try to change this up the best I can and use the study more as a reference for a personal illustration as opposed to trying to render out the reference as best I could. So I still, used a similar color palette. What I did change up obviously is her outfit and the fact that she's holding this little magical glowing vial. I thought it would be cool the more I was drawing her to think about some sort of story behind the illustration. I think that's always important when you're creating art, so that even if it's something little, somebody can look at this character and be like, oh, what does she do? What are her interests or hobbies or her profession? So I was thinking, oh, maybe she's some sort of elven merchant. That was my little story behind it. So yeah, I started with just changing the vest from green to blue, and from there I just started knocking out some other little details, and it finally came to be what it is now. So besides the 1 hour time limit that I assigned for myself, the other thing that I wanted to make sure I did was switch up my brushes. I kind of get into this habit of using the same 2 or 3 brushes every time I work on a painting. I'm sure a lot of other artists have a similar sort of situation. And it was actually very helpful because I found this brush that I know I had used before, but not very often, and I was very pleased with the outcome. I have this problem where when I try to render stuff, my brush strokes don't smoothly blend together because I typically use a little bit of a harder edge brush, and this brush I was using was a very nice in-between soft and hard brush, and it really allowed me to get those hard edges around the dress and the folds, but also those soft blended edges along the face. And for studies, I kind of like to use a little bit more of a painterly sort of style. It keeps me loose, and it allows me to not focus so hard on very strict details, which I think is very important. So why am I talking about this? Basically, when you're doing a study, you don't want to ever just say, okay, I'm going to just paint a picture just for the sake of painting a picture. You want to think about ways in which you can always be improving yourself. And while I started with the concept of I'm just going to paint something, it turned into me thinking oh, maybe I can turn this into a character, or like I was saying, maybe I can stick to a certain brush. And at the very least, I'm experimenting using my hour of time to learn something new while I'm doing something that's rather fun. For me, studies are just nice and relaxing. There's no pressure, and I really enjoy doing them. So I'm very happy with how this piece turned out, and I think I'll stick to this sort of rhythm of, if I'm going to sit down to do a study, maybe I'll try to tweak it a little bit to make more of a personal piece, because when I used to do studies, like I said, it was kind of like I was just copying I think for me, at least now that I really feel like I understand how to render, I'd really only decide to copy a piece if I felt like I really needed to learn something. So if I was struggling with armor or something like that, the shininess of metal, I might, snip out a little piece of armor from a photo reference and try to copy that the best I can. So yeah, I hope this helped you guys. And if you guys do any studies similar to this, I'd love to see them. Just so you know, we have a really big Discord server that I've started. There's like close to 800 artists in there now, and we have a lot of really cool people like sharing work, and talking to each other and stuff like that. So I'd love it if you join. The link will be in the description below. And as always, like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Perfect. Perfect.